Padagos niya to na namamatean ang iba-ibang kalamidad sa palibot. Natural man o kagibuhan ng tao. Padagos ang pag-init kan kinaban. Malala na sitwasyon kan polusyon sa paros. Maging sa katubigan. Basura na itinapok niya to sa kadagaan sa ininapapaduman. Panahon na, tapuso na ang pagbabarasulan asin pagtutururuan. Kaya ta daw hampangon na nagyat na inikan kapalibutan?
Kaya! Kaya ta! Kayang-kaya!
Kaya! Sarong advocacy program sa DZGB na maghahatod din impormasyon para maibalik ang kagayonan kan kapalibutan asin maprotehiran ang lugar na sa tuyang pig-eerokan. Kaya ta daw manindugan na padabaon ng kasalugan, dagat, estero, asin kadagaan.
Kaya! Kayang-kaya!
Protehiran ang pamilya, asin komunidad sa paaginin sabay-sabay na paglaban kontra basura. Sa mga eskwelahan, pribado asin panggobyernong opisina, iba-ibang organisasyon, barangay, munisipyo, syudad o maging sa probinsya. Marina, magsarabayan kita at amanon ang kinabanta.
Kaya! Kayang-kaya!
Tamang pagmanihar kan basura, punan niyato nin seryoso sa pamilya. Mag-segregate kita ning basura, asin gibuho na parte ini kan buhay ta.
Kaya! Kayang-kaya!
Kaya, ang programang ini, madadangog alas 2 ning hapon, kada Sabado. Hatod sa Indo, kan iba-ibang partner agencies, asin kan DZGB.
Ano? Kaya ta? Kaya!
Good afternoon mga tugang, welcome po sa programang Kaya, kasarong Sabado. Sa inyo pong nadangog ang mga speeches, mga tugang may kinaraman sa just transition kan sa tuya tabing gobyerno probinsyal, asin po kan Philippine Movement for Climate Justice. Kaya ngunyan pong hapon, ipagapadagos may sinang ipapadangog ang mga informasyon may kinaraman po sa transition kan Albay para po sa 2030 na dapat kita po 100% na renewable energy. Ngunyan pong hapon, sa inyong madadangog ang mga pahayag ni Mr. Paulo Pagaduan na may tema na what steps should Albay take to ensure it achieves energy security and local economic development, asin po ang renewable energy laws, policies, programs, and finance in response to the Albay energy transition. Itataw po iyan mga tugang ni Engineer Ariel Frondo, Chief Hydro and Ocean Energy Management Division, Renewable Energy Management Bureau, kan Department of Energy, asin po ni Ms. Angelica Marie David, Manager for Research and Policy Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities. Din sunod man itong madangog dyan ang topic ni Ms. Lidy Nakpil, Convenor kan Global Campaign to Demand Climate Justice kan Asia People's Movement on Debt and Development. Ang saya pong topic yun may kinaraman sa imperatives and just transition in global mechanism on just transition nature and characteristics of government and transition program, the outcome of Santa Marta, Colombia global transitioning away from fossil fuels. Dogon ta po mga tugang ang sayandang mga pahayag sa just transition na ginibo sa Oriental Hotel Kanuminaging Aldao.
This session will dive into the concrete strategies and actionable policies needed to secure our energy future while simultaneously uplifting the local economy from a subnational level. To guide us through this next session, may we invite the next speakers. Our first speaker serves as the Chief of the Hydropower and Ocean Energy Management Division under the Renewable Energy Management Bureau of the Department of Energy. A mechanical engineer by profession with decades of service in energy administration, he previously served as Chief of the Geothermal Energy Management Division. In his division head role, he oversees the formulation, implementation, and evaluation of national policies, plans, and regulatory frameworks governing the exploration, development, and commercialization of hydropower, ocean power, and pumped storage technologies across the Philippines. He leads key government initiatives to accelerate renewable energy integration, promote grid-scale energy storage solutions, and advance the nation's transition towards clean, sustainable power. Let us all give a warm round of applause for Engineer Ariel D. Fronda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Magandang hapon ho sa lahat. So I'll be presenting to you the updates of renewable energy development in the Philippines, as well as the programs that the Department of Energy is implementing. So just to remind you, the RE law was signed and enacted in 2008 with an effectivity of in January 30, 2009. So if we count that, it's been 18 years that we've been implementing renewable energy law in the Philippines. So another reminder, just to give you the different RE technologies that we've been developing with an acronym of Big Show. BI for biomass, G for geothermal, S for solar, H for hydropower, O for ocean, and W for wind. So these are the RE resources that we've been developing to achieve our goal of energy security and energy self-reliance. So this has been informed to you since this morning. The energy transition goal, or the target to achieve our renewable energy contribution, to achieve a 35% share of RE in the power generation mix by 2030 and 50% by 2040 and more than 50% beyond. So this is under the Philippine Energy Plan from the duration or planning period of 2023 to 2050. This slide shows since the enactment of the law, we have already had an additional capacity of 4,597 megawatts with an investment of 440 billion and greenhouse gas emission avoidance of 38 million of carbon dioxide emission. This is the current power generation mix that shows RE contribution of 25%. Still, coal generation dominates our power generation mix of about 57%. Okay, maybe there's a technical problem in the slide. But I want to show you that in the previous slide, it is the power generation mix, but for the capacities, installed capacities in terms of megawatts, the renewable energy has 32.9%, while coal is again still the highest of 40%, oil-based of 10.8%, and natural gas of 15.8%. And from the renewable energy, the highest contribution came from hydropower of 12%. Solar is gaining its share of 11.1%, and geothermal of 6.4%. So the target of the Department of Energy to achieve 35% of share in the power generation mix. The basis of that are the awarded service contracts from these different renewable energy resources. So for hydropower, we have awarded 382 projects with a potential of 14,389 megawatts. For ocean, for your information, we have yet still installed an ocean energy project, but we have a capacity potential of 34 megawatts from 9 awarded projects. For geothermal, we have 24 contracts or projects, but still we have a potential of 810 megawatts. And all of you are aware, of course, of geothermal power plants. So Tiwi and Bacman are part of the 2,057 megawatts. For wind, these are the most expected renewable energy addition. So we have awarded 271 contracts or projects with a potential of 89,180 megawatts. We have already installed 609 megawatts. Hopefully, your potential of wind project will add to this installed capacity. And for solar, we have awarded 560 projects with an installed capacity of 31,584 megawatts, with still 31,000 megawatts of potential capacity and more, because we are a tropical country where sun always shines. So there will always be a solar power that can be installed. For biomass, we have 84 awarded projects with 815 megawatts and a potential capacity of 583 megawatts. So from all of these RE resources, we have awarded a total of 1,330 service contracts, RE service contracts, total potential capacity of 136 gigawatts, and the total installed for RE is 9.1 gigawatts. Okay, from the RE law, this is this is why the investors and developers are acquiring RE projects, because of these incentives. The first is the fiscal incentives, and the other one is the non-fiscal incentives. For the non-fiscal incentives, these are mostly government initiated programs. So what are these government programs for the non-fiscal incentives? For the feed-in tariff system, we only have remaining 100 megawatts of feed-in tariff capacity, but this is only for the remaining 100 megawatts is only for the runoff river hydro. And after the feed-in tariff system, we are now implementing the Green Energy Auction Program that provides additional market for RE through a competitive bidding of the capacities that the Department of Energy will be announcing. So a while ago in this morning session, there's a challenge on market for renewable energy. And this green energy auction program is one of the market that the RE developers are interested. Because this is a good market for the RE, because the ERC sets a rate that will be paid for the RE developers for 20 years. So this sets a good income reliability for the RE developers. So we have also net metering program. So the net metering program are usually done by the households having solar rooftop for their houses, which they will sell the excess to the grid. And the RPS, for the RPS, this mandates the distribution utilities, the electric cooperatives of sourcing renewable energy as their supply. So from the start, we have mandated 1% of RE RE supply from the distribution utility and electric cooperatives, but now we have increased that to 2.52%. So your target of 100% is really, I would like to acknowledge that and appreciate your target of 100% of renewable energy supply. And that will be more than the required, very much more than the required 2.52%. So if ALECO will of course have those RE as their supply, then they will be very much compliant with this RP, Renewable Portfolio Standards regulation. The renewable energy market just serves as the venue for the trading of the RE certificates. So those are the RE policy mechanisms that the Department of Energy the Department of Energy is implementing. So as what I've said, from the minimum annual RE increment of 1%, we have increased that to 2.52% starting from the year 2023. And we have also revised off-grid rules for RPS that was completed on May 2023. Okay. So for this green energy auction, so I would like to inform all of you about this program, that because this has been a banner program of the Department of Energy to achieve the 35% target. So we have conducted already several rounds of green energy auction, and for the proposed auctions will be, although we have already conducted this until JEA 6. So now we are preparing for the JEA 7, solar battery, run-of-river hydro in Mindanao, and JEA 8, 9, as well as JEA 10 for all RE technologies. So for the 10-year JEA plan, we are aiming for a 25 gigawatts additional RE capacity for the period of 2027 to 2035. So, as what I've said, those government initiative program, there's also a consumer-based equivalent for that, for the net metering, green energy option program. This green energy option program is voluntary. This is a policy that voluntarily allows the electricity end users with 50 kilowatts and above demand to source their electricity supply from renewable energy, as well as the distributed energy resource rules. So, just to give you figures of how many households or end users have availed the net metering program. So there's a total of 23,684 from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, with the capacities of 232,000 kilowatts. For the green energy option, there's a total of 963 end users that opted to get their electricity or power from renewable energy with a capacity of 322 kilowatts. So, thank you, and I hope you have gained knowledge from the Department of Energy's plans and programs. Thank you.
Our next speaker, she serves as the manager for energy policy at the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, or ICSC. A prominent researcher and policy analyst, she leads data-driven advocacy, policy development, and regional research initiatives aimed at accelerating a fair, reliable, and low-carbon energy transition in the Philippines and across Southeast Asia. Within ICSC, she coordinates major international collaborations, including serving as project lead for the Clean, Affordable, and Secure Energy for Southeast Asia, or CASE program. Her extensive research focuses on key energy policy issues such as off-grid island electrification, carbon pricing, stranded coal assets, climate finance accountability, and grid modernization. Let's all welcome Ms. Angelica Marie David.
Masyado po palang maliwanag dito sa harap niyo. Magandang tanghali po. Sana po, thank you kuya. Magandang tanghali po. Sana po may energy pa po tayo para sa last session na to. Or one more presentation and then panel discussion. No? Ako po si Angelica David from the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, manager po for research and policy. So, yung i-discuss ko po ngayon ay mas magfo-focus po ako sa ibang gaps, no, sa mga local policies and yung mga available na parang financing options po natin for our LGU. So, I'm not here to repeat no, yung mga policies na shinare ni Sir Ariel a while ago since they were more focused nga po on the national level, but also see what are paano po natin siya mako-complement as well on the local level. Oops. Ay. Sumobra na. Alright. Alright, so as discussed earlier, we already have laws and policies to develop RE. So since 2009, we already have the mechanisms to not just promote, but also to develop and utilize renewable energy in the country. But it's not enough that we just have these laws. It's also important for us to be very vigilant about how these policies are being implemented and na-implement po ba siya ng maayos. No? So, we must remain vigilant, particularly in the implementation, so that we can ensure that they actually feel their intended purposes, so that it can also help us achieve yung targets po natin for 2030, no? Which is yung 35% natin na national renewable energy target. So, it's very important for us, yung mga stakeholders po na nandito, hindi lang national government agencies, but also developers, CSOs, think tanks, local government units, electric cooperatives and other DUs to also collaborate to overcome yung challenges natin in terms of renewable energy development. During the morning session, marami na pong na-discuss about the limitations, no, or the challenges in RE project development. But I just wanted to focus on some na gaps, no, not just in terms of policies, but also in the investment. So for the targets and policies, we have noticed the slow implementation, or there are delays in the implementations of some of the mechanisms in the Renewable Energy Act, and given also the current energy crisis that we've experienced, no, I think may pagkakataon po tayo to also look at it again and see maybe may mga kailangan i-amend na ibang mga provisions, or at least it could also help us respond to the energy crisis. This is not the first time that we experienced the energy crisis here in the Philippines. So there are a lot of geopolitical events. There are a lot of international market fluctuations that affected us in the past year. So hopefully this serves as a lesson to also look into our policies and update them to also help us cope with the impacts of the crisis. And then in terms of increasing RE investments, if you would compare it to 10 years ago, you would see that marami na po yung progress, no, in terms of investments. We were, according to Bloomberg New Energy Finance, we were one of the top most attractive market for renewable energy. But then this renewable energy investments coming in this project should not only benefit a few people, no, but should also provide benefits particularly to the community. So dapat may mga benefit sharing mechanisms din po sa mga proyektong ito, and sana hindi lang mga utility scale na projects yung makita natin. Right now, there are a lot of projects being promoted po, no, on RE, pero these are super big projects. But of course, in the communities, particularly in the off-grid islands, most of them, they don't benefit particularly in this project. So we hope that there would be more core and pure projects. So yung core po yung community renewable energy projects, and then yung pure naman ay yung productive use of renewable energy na pwede din gamitin ng mga communities directly. So aside from the utility scale na project, we also need stronger support for renewables that can also support smaller players like schools, no, rooftop solars in particular, hospitals, rural health units, farmers and fisher folks. So mas yung pinapromote din po namin would be the distributed renewable energy. So Kaya po, ang focus din namin ay mas more on core and pure renewable energy projects. And of course, limited financing for LGUs and communities. We've been also doing local energy planning with some of local government units, particularly in Eastern Visayas. And isa po ito sa mga nababanggit po nila, no, whenever they would ask us na meron na silang mga targets, but how could they actually finance the projects for further constituents. And for the growing RE capacities, of course, meron pa rin po tayong problema sa grid. So there are delays in transmissions and this growing renewable energy capacities cannot be accommodated in the current in our current system. That's why we're also looking at a stronger support for a more decentralized and modernized grid. So I would like to focus as well in the financing for not just for LGUs but for renewable energy projects in the next couple of slides. Okay, so I'll be going through some of it very quickly lang because I wanted to focus more on local available financing. But for the international finance mechanisms for renewable energy, most of this available finance are focusing on large-scale financing. Mas mamalaki pong proyekto, no? They also provide technical assistance and sometimes policy support. And the projects that they support usually involves yung mga finance infrastructure mismo, grid systems, and yung mga sector-wide reforms, particularly through national government programs. And these are primary loans, no, to national government or sometimes private sector loans as well. And in the next slide, you would also see some of the players who provide international financing mechanisms. So you would see here some of our multilateral development banks like ADB and the World Bank. And then we also have the Green Climate Fund and the Climate Investment Fund, which can also support early stage ng project preparation, capital investments, and technical assistance. Yung reality about international finance mechanism as well is that local government units, unfortunately, cannot directly access most of these funds. They have to go through a national agency or an accredited entity, no, before they could submit their project proposal. So, yung requirements po medyo madami, sobrang detalyado, sobrang technical. And of course, hindi lang siya, mas madalas loans kaysa din sa grants, no? So, these funds exist to address climate action, no? But accessing them is also difficult because it also requires preparation and strong partnership. So, but then, in the Philippines, we also have some government-led finance mechanisms for renewable energy that local government units can also access. So, for example, we have the Renewable and Alternative Energy Plus program or yung Real Energy program po ng Land Bank, no, which also explores flexible financing for businesses, for communities, including local governments unit po dito sa project nila. So you would see there the eligible projects, no, they would offer, they would fund different projects, renewable energy projects, iba't iba pong technologies from biomass to solar to hydro, and even yung some of the manufacturing. For energy efficiency, they are also welcoming this program, and also for distribution utilities or yung mga DUs tsaka electric co-ops po natin, since meron din silang nagsusupport din sila ng mga power distribution projects. Okay, and then for the next slide, we have here the Development Bank of the Philippines, yung FUSE project naman po nila, no? So, Financing Utilities for Sustainable Energy Development Program. So, the coverage of this program is also for different eligible projects, no, to come in. So, pwede pong for generation, for power distribution, meron din pong equipment and support facilities, and from our discussion also with DPP, they've been yung isa pong ine-example nila, no, kapag pumupunta po sila doon sa mga discussions namin, is their support, for example, to one electric cooperative, which is Romelco. So yung renewable energy projects po ni Romelco, no, nasuportahan po yan ni DBP noon. So there are already examples of projects or successful projects, no, together with DBP. Another program which also focuses on in support of yung EEC Act and EVIDA law is the E2Save, or the Energy Efficiency Savings Financing Program, but then covers multiple project opportunities, including green building projects, RE projects, pati po mga EV projects. So our experience with both of these banks, they were very open also to discuss to their proponents, no, possible arrangements for financing. So madali pong makontak yung DBP in particular in support of this in these programs. So very quickly lang po. So yan po yung requirements nila overall, particularly for LGUs po, no, who would want to also to avail of their programs. So that's the loan requirements. Some key considerations lang po for financing. Of course, meron pong international finance na available, mas malalak for bigger projects, but as I've mentioned, there's a difficulty in accessing them, particularly for LGUs. But then, of course, complementing to that, we also have local support readily available to actually move these projects forward. And this financing opportunities can support the entire project cycle, no, from the pre-feasibility, yung project preparation up until the implementation. And lastly, of course, the focus mostly is for RE projects, for grid modernization systems, and of course to support the energy transition. So the question for us now is, how can we leverage this financing mechanisms, no? Do we want to explore them as local government units, so that we can actually so we can also provide meaningful impact to our communities? But then, of course, there are challenges, particularly, magfo-focus lang po ako dun sa national, no? So, of course, when developing a proposal for financing, no, yung project readiness and technical capacity po ay crucial. Most of the requirements would include feasibility study. It would also take some time, and kailangan po talagang may technical expertise then from the local government unit. You have the right capacity to do this and actually submit, no, yung inyong proposal. So particularly for smaller LGUs po, kailangan talaga nila ng support. And given the role of local government units in project development, so may delays pa rin in terms of procurement. Yung permitting po, no, isa yan sa parang sinasabi nilang kung bakit na-delay yung mga ibang projects, kasi yung permitting process daw sa mga LGUs super bureaucratic. So with all of these projects, they might face these challenges. So there's really a need for different stakeholders to collaborate, so we can ease And of course, yung domestic financing, then mostly ay loan-based and hindi naman po lahat ng LGUs ay gusto din mag-loan. Sige po. And for, just wanted to emphasize the role of the local government units, particularly in developing RE projects, because of course, in their own jurisdictions, they have authority for local planning. You have your own local development plans, yung sa project development process, and of course, kung gaano rin po kayo kalapit dun sa mga community. So, aside from that, we already have champions, local government units, and these LGUs can also create their own policies to accelerate RE. Since yung LGU nga po nag-influence ng permitting, ng planning, pati ng community engagement. So just siguro po, just an example of the work that we're also doing. So we've been doing local energy planning with local governments in Eastern Visayas. So far po, we are working with 8 to 10 LGUs in Eastern Visayas, and we've been starting the RE roadmap process with them, first with the scoping workshop, and you would see here some of them are provinces, some of them are municipalities, and we already did the scoping workshop with them, and we're now working with them to conduct the multi-stakeholder consultation and the right shop for their RE roadmap. But aside from the RE roadmap, that will be the output of the activity. The LGUs that we are working with are also institutionalizing their local ordinances and plans. So, yung iba po sa kanila, meron ng RE code, yung iba po sa kanila nakapag-hearing na ng RE promotions ordinance or ng iba't iba pong ordinance, no? And yung iba po nagde-develop pa rin. And why is it important to highlight yung mga policies na ginagawa sa local level? Yung sa RE code po ng iba, no, mas na-institutionalize po nila yung pagpapromote tsaka pagde-develop ng RE project. So, aside po sa nagkakaroon po sila ng energy committee na kapag nagkakaroon po sila ng provisions for investment and for the promotion of renewable energy, they also get to appropriate a portion of their budget for renewable energy annually. So, isang example po natin dyan would be the Iloilo Province for their IPOR, no? Yung Iloilo Provincial Ordinance for Renewable Energy, which allocates like 1% of their annual budget to renewable energy projects. So, kaya po, importante din sana na may local policy din po yung mga LGUs para din magkaroon po ng extra support, no, yung development ng renewable energy. And with the energy crisis po na nangyari, most of the LGUs are now really more willing to invest or at least po pag-aralan, no, kung paano rin sila magkakaroon ng renewable energy roadmap. So in the next slides, I'll just show some of the planning workshops that we did with Northern Samar, with Giwan, with Eastern Samar, in CDO, Alang-Alang, Salcedo, and of course we'll also do it in Bohol next week. Now we'll also do like a local workshop with them. And aside from this roadmap workshops and institutionalizing these policies, even prior po to the energy crisis, some of the LGUs are already convinced. And I believe po, dito naman sa hall na to, marami na po ditong hindi na kailangan ng convincing, no, to switch to RE because you already know, you're already convinced of the benefits of RE. So, isa po sa partner namin na LGU would be the LGU of Giwan in Eastern in Eastern Samar, and they already knew that these RE systems, they might be small, but it can improve energy resilience at the local level. So this just shows like an example of continuous operations despite yung mga outages, no, na nangyayari sa kanila. So ito po yung computations ng Giwan Municipal Hall, no, in terms of their savings, no, future savings, and yung payback period nila, plus yung iba pang benefits sa community nila in terms of yung sa NVI and sa LGU. I just wanted to highlight as well na yung savings din po, no, na emphasize din dito, since they can also provide yung mga natitipid po nila sa kanilang electricity bills, they can actually reallocate it to other social projects or to other social services. Example ko po ulit yung Iloilo, like with the savings that they had, no, since they solarized seven of their district hospitals. I think now they're going 12 district hospitals. So the savings from the solarization, they were able to buy new equipment for the hospital and also hire more staff. No? So that's for Giwan in Eastern Samar. And lagi nga po nilang sinasabi nung nagkaroon ng earthquake sa Visayas last 2025, nakapagbigay pa rin po sila ng basic social services since meron silang solar installation, no. So walang kuryente yung buong Giwan, yung municipal hall lang yung meron. So their constituents were also able to charge dun sa munisipyo, and nakapag-respond din sila sa kanilang nasasakupan. So they also plan to solarize additional public buildings as well, yung mga RHUs and mga schools and transport terminal. So mas napaigi po ito no, nagkaroon din sila ng batteries, no. So aside from the solar, meron na din silang battery. So aside from that, we also have partnership with Paranas, and so aside from the municipal hall, this can be done also with the evacuation centers, rural health units, and other health center facilities. So just like what I've shared earlier din po, yung mga benefits as also computed by the municipality. So it was the first solar-powered municipal building in the province of Samar. And then moving forward, how can we further help promote renewable energy in the Philippines? So we already have the policies supporting renewable energies, and it's very important that we look at them and ensure that they are implemented properly. We also have to streamline the regulatory environment, because it's also important that the permitting processes and the other bureaucratic processes are updated, no, or improved, particularly sa LGU. Marami na po rin atang nilabas na mga yung local energy code and ibang joint memorandum circulars from DOE and DILG to also show yung, or at least to mandate the LGUs about this streamlining of processes. And we also need to establish necessary infrastructure, hindi lang po yung RE, pati po sana yung grid natin, no. Hindi mas mapabilis yung pagmo-modernize ng ating grid, mas and then lastly, for us, we also see the importance of having a more flexible grid and to also decentralize our systems, considering that we are an archipelago and we still have a lot of small island grids, we still have a lot of off-grid areas, and decentralized renewable energy can be the solution for us to improve not just the access but also the affordability of electricity in these areas. For investment and funding, if you would compare it from 2015, mas bumaba na po talaga yung mga RE technologies ngayon. But of course, for residential PV systems, kailangan pa rin po ng mataas pa rin po yung upfront cost, no? So, now we already have different financial mechanisms, particularly to support our households, no? I think recently si Pag-ibig naglabas din, si SSS, and I think PLDT is also looking at how they can provide additional financing mechanism to also support, no, yung mga gusto pong rooftop solar. So hindi lang on the level of utility scale, yung level ng pang LGU, pati rin yung sa mga sa residents, no. There are improvements in terms of the available financing to cover that upfront cost, no. And even without these financing options, people are actually looking at buying their own solar, setting up their own solar, no? Kaya rin parang 'di ba po nagka-issue din last time about that, no, yung mga guerrilla installations. And of course, there's also a role for governments and financial institutions to actually think more about flexible options, modern financing mechanisms, no, that would actually respond to the needs of those who actually wanted to shift to solar. And then, of course, lastly, at the local level, since nandito po tayo sa Albay, no, and nakita po mismo ng Albay yung role nila in the transition as one of the champions. Sana po mas ma-replicate pa to sa ibang mga local governments units, since napakita po natin na marami na tayong proof of concepts in terms of local government units supporting renewable energy, whether that would be like a roadmap or a project. So, marami na po tayong concepts to replicate. So, from my end, that's it. If you have any inquiries, you can contact our organization, the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much for having me here once again. I was in the Renewable Energy Investment Summit in this very room 2 years ago. So I think the picture that they...
Yan po mga tugang ang parte kan sa tuyang pinag-cover kaso sarong aldaw. Yan po sa Maris sa sarong hotel di po sa Legazpi. Tangani po na mas ma-deliver sa mga plano kan provincial government kan Albay, asin po kan Philippine Movement for Climate Justice. Kaya nga ni po sa Lunes next week magkikipag-ugnayan kita sa sa satuya tabi na na mga ahensya kan gobyerno, lalo na po sa provincial government kan Albay, kung ano na po mga tugang ang direksyon may kinaraman sa siring na bagay. Okay, so sana ang dakulaon nga ning hapot dyan, mga tugang, kung paano tagigibuhon iya na 2026 ngunyan, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, sa alog po rin 4 na taon, ano kaya ta daw mga tugang ang satuyang pangaturugan, iyo po mga tugang ang by 2030, ang satuya tabi na Albay, 100% renewable energy. Iyan po nakapalaman duman sa inot ng napirmahan kay ito ni Governor Grex Lagman, mga tugang sa iba-ibang mga ahensya kan sa mga stakeholders na kasarabay. Tangani po sa Albay, maka-generate kita ki renewable energy na free from fossil fuel. Asin po day kita mga tugang masyado na magkaigwa tabi nin kontribusyon sa problema tabi mga tugang sa satuya tabing kapalibutan. Okay? So siguro sa mga masunod mga tugang na Sabado sa inunang madadangog di po sa DZGB, ano iba-iba pong mga eskwela na sa tuyang i-feature. O garing sa Sabado, Ronald, may coverage kita tama? Di ba street presentation sa Sabado? Tama no? O, sa masunod na Sabado, street presentation kaya mga tugang sa Sabado sa Ibalong Festival. Kaya siguro sa masunod na Sabado, Petsa 29, pupo ng tana pong i-guest po sa estasyon, mga tugang sa indong programang Kaya, mga tugang iba-iba na mga eskwelahan na ipifeature tatabihan sa indang mga plano para po sa environmental practices kan sa hindi pong mga eskwelahan. Okay? Sige po. Mga tugang, ako po si Henry M. and Pinky on mo baby. Masunod na. Makalipas lang po kayo ni.
Tagulan na. Uso na naman ang ubo.